Alright, what is going on, everybody? This is Trudger MC, and today I'm going to be doing something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I've said a couple times in some of my previous videos that Tim Burton is my favorite director, and I decided, you know what, why don't I just go and rank all of his movies? Be doing a tier list type thing. Now, you're going to notice right off the bat that, yeah, those are all of the movies that he directed, but you're also going to notice a couple things that might seem a little off. The first thing here is this Hansel and Gretel movie. This is actually the first movie he directed. It was basically a made-for-TV movie type thing in 1983, and I definitely think it's worth including, and Nightmare Before Christmas, he technically didn't direct that, but in my opinion, that is like the definitive Tim Burton movie, so it has to be included on this list. And I feel like it would be incomplete if it wasn't. So with that being said, we have tiers here, S through D, with S being the best and D being the worst. And we're going to go in release order, so we're going to start things off with Hansel and Gretel. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, then you'd know that, well, it's basically like, if you watch it now, like, if you've seen any of these other movies and then you watch Hansel and Gretel, you're like, oh, this is a Tim Burton movie. But this was his first ever movie. And it was basically like, he was working for Disney, and they were like, yo, make an adaptation of Hansel and Gretel. It's like, okay. So he did, and it was very different, very weird, and you can find the whole thing on YouTube. I definitely recommend checking it out if you are a fan of Tim Burton, and if you're watching this video, I'm sure you are. Now, do I think that this is like the best movie ever? Not really. You could definitely tell that it was made on a budget, and that was also like his first movie directing. But I still recommend it, so I'm going to put it for now in a B tier. That's where I'm going to put it. Now, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This was the first movie that he directed. He directed a movie that was released in theaters. Hansel and Gretel was not, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure was. So this is the first movie that he directed. It's also the first movie where he sort of made history, collaborating with Danny Elfman. And we all know that Danny Elfman, he basically did the music for almost all of these movies here. So, very important movie, very influential movie, but it's not really my thing in all honesty. I would actually prefer to watch a lot of these other movies instead of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It's just not my thing. I totally get the people that do like it, but for me, I am going to put it in, I'll put it in B tier for now, but behind Hansel and Gretel. We'll see if that changes later. All right, now, Beetlejuice, House Ghost, the movie that really put him on the map for his distinct style. Like, we did get to see a little bit of that with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but it was more so with this movie here. And I think this movie is amazing. It's really funny. It has a lot of the humor and other elements you would expect for a Tim Burton movie. And it was basically like his second ever theatrical movie. So people didn't really know what to think of it when it first came out, but I think that it was very good at the time and still holds up today. I'm going to try to cut this short so that this video isn't 10 million years long. Batman, I am not going to sugarcoat it. Batman is my all-time favorite Tim Burton movie that goes right to the top of S tier. And if you want me to explain why I like it so much, I will probably do that later. But I'll spare the details now and just say that's my favorite Tim Burton movie. Edward Scissorhands, that is one of my all-time favorites. It doesn't beat Batman for me, but excuse me. It is definitely very high on that list. One of his best movies. Like, objectively, this is probably his best movie. Perfect in basically every way. But because it's a sad movie, and I'm not really one for sad stories, like, this movie made me cry, and not really a fan of that. But, yeah, this movie is so good, man. So good. Batman Returns. Now, the thing with Batman Returns is that I think that as a Batman movie, this doesn't really work, but as a Tim Burton movie, it's really good. If you don't know, this movie's soundtrack is my all-time favorite movie soundtrack ever. I think Danny Elfman just absolutely knocked it out of the park with the soundtrack, and it totally fits. Um, the unique versions of Catwoman and Penguin presented in this movie, very interesting. Yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to put it behind Beetlejuice. Like, I'd say I'd rather watch Beetlejuice instead of Batman Returns, but man, like this soundtrack, if you have not listened to the Batman Returns soundtrack and you're a fan of Danny Elfman's work, it's like, come on, man, what are you doing? You need to listen to this. Um, anyway, Nightmare Before Christmas, S tier. Definitely S tier. I'm putting this ahead of Edward Scissorhands because I grew up watching this movie right here. I've seen it so many times, and um, it's the music is so good. The story, the impact, like the cultural impact, you do not need to talk about this movie. Everybody knows about this movie. It's so good, and there's a reason for that. It really holds up, and oh man, like this is why I knew, even though he technically didn't direct this movie, it's like this is the Tim Burton movie. Objectively, I'd say this would be like the top of the list, but subjectively, I like Batman the most. So yeah, do with that what you will. Ed Wood, definitely, I'd say his most serious movie. This was a movie that it's not for me, but I can appreciate it for what it is. I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it here because I like it for what it is. It's a very serious movie and a very insightful movie, and it's also really good for Johnny Depp. Like people today know Johnny Depp as, oh, he's the Jack Sparrow guy, but before that, he was Edward Scissorhands, he was Ed Wood, and you see some other roles in this here. So he was really good in this. The other actors that they had in there, they did their part really well. So objectively, very good movie. Subjectively, not my thing. Okay, now in complete contrast, okay, like if you have not seen Mars Attacks, I totally understand that this movie is a bit of an acquired taste, but this is a taste that I totally like. I'm all about Mars Attacks. I think the movie is hilarious. It knows that it's a goofy movie, like a parody disaster movie, and it goes all in with that, and I think it is just hilarious. It's so enjoyable, so much fun, and yeah, I don't really have anything else to say other than that. Like, I highly recommend this movie if you're into comedies, and if you're into Tim Burton movies, I think this movie works for both. Now, Sleepy Hollow. Okay, so this one, I think it's good. I would give it probably an A. Because I don't find myself rewatching it a lot, but when I am in the mood for it, it definitely delivers. It's basically like a crime drama set in like the early 1800s, like late 1700s, early 19 or early 1800s, somewhere in there. So it's a really interesting movie for that. And it's got some cool like supernatural elements, and the guy that played Darth Maul in Star Wars, like Phantom Menace, he was actually the guy that did most of the work for the Headless Horseman, and that was so cool. Like the guy's very agile for being a guy without a head and riding on a horse. Like the fight scenes are really good. This is a very R-rated movie because of the blood, and it's a very bloody movie. But I also like the filter that it has, where it's this very desaturated movie. So I highly recommend it. I think it's actually good right there where it is. Again, it's not my all-time favorite movie, but when I am in the mood for it, it's very good. Now, in complete opposite, so I've said before that Batman is my number one favorite Tim Burton movie. Planet of the Apes is my least favorite. And there's not really much else to say about that. I thought the movie was kind of dull, and if you like it, cool, but that movie was absolutely not for me. And then going in complete contrast again, Big Fish. Oh my goodness, Big Fish. This is, oh man, where do I put this movie? I think I might have to put it here. Do I even like it more than Nightmare Before Christmas? I really like the story of like a son trying to reconnect with his father, but he feels disconnected because the father's basically in his own world. Like I can kind of relate to that, and the music is so good, and the visuals, the actors, oh man. I might have to do that, in all honesty. Like, I think I like Big Fish just a little bit more than Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, both of these are so good movies. I recommend both of them, for different reasons. And, yeah, like, oh man. Okay, I think I'm gonna do that. All right, now, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is a very divisive movie because it is absolutely not like the original movie from 1971, but I like it because of that. Because I've actually read the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book, and it is not like the 1971 movie. It's a lot more like the 2005 movie. So I can appreciate that for being a more faithful adaptation. Now, they did do some weird stuff that I wasn't really a fan of, so I think I'm going to put it... I think I'm actually going to put it here. I do like it for what it is, but it's just not my thing, personally, all that much. Corpse Bride, again, I can appreciate it for what it is, but is it really my thing? I think we're going to put it around here or so. There's not really much else to say. Like, it is a story that has been told quite a few times with Tim Burton. It's the same kind of thing. Like, you kind of get what it's going to be. Character of Emily is one of my all-time favorite Tim Burton characters, but then, like, the rest of it is just like, it's okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street. This movie is interesting. Definitely not one of my favorites. I will put it here, I'd say. I'd say that's fair. That kind of thing. Okay, now, Alice in Wonderland. This is another easy one for me. I like it more than Planet of the Apes, but not by much. And there's one movie that goes in between these two, and you'll see what that is when we get to it. Okay, Dark Shadows. I think this movie... I'm really divided with this movie because when it's funny, I think it works. And then when it tries to be serious or a romantic drama type thing, I think it doesn't work. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to put Hansel and Gretel up here, and I'm going to put Dark Shadows there. No, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, that looks good for my taste. Yeah, so I think this movie is funny in parts, but then in other parts, I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, it's like, this isn't really my thing. Okay, Frankenweenie. I like this movie. Not one of my favorites, but I think it's good for what it is. There are some moments that I think are just hilarious in this movie, and then I also like just the very grounded story of a boy trying to reconnect with his dog, and it's good for that. I'm gonna put it here, I think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it there. Okay, now Big Eyes. This is, I feel like for me, Big Eyes is kind of in the same boat as Ed Wood, and I would actually prefer it over Ed Wood. Yeah, probably over Sweeney Todd too, because objectively it's a very good movie, very serious movie. And it knows what it is, and for what it is, it's very good. But it's just, not really my thing. I don't find myself wanting to rewatch it. Miss Peregrine, complete opposite. I think Miss Peregrine is a very top-tier movie. I know the special effects and the acting are questionable at times, but yeah, I really like this movie. And I'm actually going to put it, yeah, I think like that. Yeah, because I think I like Mars Attacks more, but I'd rather rewatch this than Edward Scissorhands. So, yeah, I'm going to say that. Okay, now, Dumbo. This is the movie that goes in between these two. I thought it didn't work, and, yeah, there's really not much else to say because nobody seems to appreciate that movie. Because it just wasn't what it was supposed to be. Now, for Beetlejuice, this movie is, oh man, I had a lot of fun with this movie. So far I've only seen it once, and that was when it first came out in theaters, which is fairly recently, but still. I really like this movie. I think I actually like it more than the original Beetlejuice, but by how much? I'm gonna put it maybe like that. Yeah, okay. And then just for consistency, let's add these on here, and then that will be my completed list. So, I hope that you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions or you want to share your own ranking of the Tim Burton movies, definitely do let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more stuff like this, then do be sure to leave a like. And yeah, if you agree, disagree, let me know what you think. What's your favorite Tim Burton movie, or your least favorite Tim Burton movie, or anything like that. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.